Hello everyone, I'm Michael Dana. Thanks so much for joining us. 70% of the oysters cultivated and caught here in the United States come from the waters of the Gulf of Mexico. But on a recent LSU Ag Center research expedition into the estuaries west of the Mississippi, 100% of the oysters caught there were dead. Researchers say leaking crude oil from the British Petroleum disaster is not what killed them. This week in Louisiana Agriculture's Avery Davidson was back along the Louisiana Gulf Coast this week. He reports oyster farmers say the methods used to fight the oil spill killed their crop, and now they want British Petroleum to pay.
Where the water meets the shore is not the bank for Carolyn Falgout. For her, a lifelong oyster farmer, the bank is just a few feet below. Falgout recently made an investment of $186,000 to build up her oyster beds on more than 4,000 acres she leases from the state. With the drop of this trawl, she makes a withdrawal and finds someone has robbed her bank.
There's not a single live oyster in any of this.
And right now, all we did was throw our money in the water.
Yep. Total mortality.
LSU and LSU Ag Center researcher Dr. John Supan says not a single oyster out of 5 baskets is alive. This was supposed to be a $1 million crop for Falgout.
I could just break down and cry to see how many years we've been waiting for this point. And we were at this point come May. And then this happens.
Dr. Supan says what likely killed all of these oysters was the enormous amount of fresh water diverted from the Mississippi River at Davis Pond. That's because oysters need salt water to survive. And a quick check of the salinity shows there is no salt in this water.
That's a freshwater algae growing on there.
The fresh water was supposed to keep crude from the British Petroleum oil leak out of the estuaries. It appears that worked to some extent.
If the oil killed them, the oil would have to come in direct contact with the reef. And there's no oil odor that I can sense here.
Yeah, but dead oysters is based on dead oysters. Income to the company that they won't get.
Falgout says so far BP has paid her company $7,000 for losses. And that officials told her she would have to pay for a study to prove how many oysters she lost.
Why we have to pay to prove all of this? We never did worry about all of this. It should be the oil spill has to pay for this.
And Falgout says if no one is willing to pay for her losses, then she'll have nothing to pass down to her grandchildren.
Somebody has to be responsible for this. And if they're not, I'm not interested in the future. Because if they don't take us back to where we were before this happened, I can't see going through all of this again.
And after 3 generations of investing in the water, Falgout's livelihood would be bankrupt. Near Little Lake, I'm Avery Davidson for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
Dr. John Supan says the fresh water diverted from Davis Pond disrupted one of his research projects involving 39 specially bred oysters. To keep those oysters from dying, Dr. Supan said he moved them west to the Rockefeller Wildlife Preserve down in Vermilion Parish.